The only topics she brushed over were culture, customs, and social interactions. Perhaps she was not wise to the ways of the world, or perhaps she did not wish to discuss them. Regardless, there was certainly something out of the ordinary about this woman. At least, the craftsman thought so. I would like for you to make me a jade plaque bearing the likeness of the Lord of Geo on its surface. The woman finally stated her request once the broad-reaching and lengthy conversation had reached its end, and she was all but ready to leave. But I have one condition: you may not conjure up our Lord's likeness from your imagination. You must carve the true likeness of our Lord relying on what you have seen with your own 2 eyes. Otherwise, she said, I'm not paying a single mora. And so a deal was struck between the two, with an agreed turnaround of 3 days. On the first day, the craftsman dined and drank with his good friends. He did not take a single new job on that day. On the second day, the craftsman climbed a mountain to view the jade there, not seeing a single customer or acquaintance for the entire day. Only on the third day did the craftsman close the doors of his workshop and begin carving away at the uncut jade, working from dawn to dusk, until finally it was complete. When the crescent moon once again began to ruse in the leeway night sky, the amber-eyed woman returned and approached his doorstep. The craftsman proudly handed over the fruits of his labor, a jade plaque bearing the likeness of the god, in female form. The woman was puzzled. She frowned, and demanded an explanation. And this was the explanation that he gave. On the first day, I sought counsel from every wise and learned person that I know, and learned the principles of our Lord and how they work. But this was just the skeleton. On the second day, I visited the mountains and spent a whole day observing the mountain rocks, listening to the ebb and flow of the elements, and pondering all that our Lord had created. But this was just the flesh. On the third day, I covered both my eyes and began to carve from the heart, starting when it felt like the time to start, stopping when it felt like the time to stop. At last, this was the spirit. The craftsman smiled awkwardly, then added, but even I'm not sure why it came out like this. The woman tilted the item back and forth in her hand, as if contemplating something. Interesting, she finally responded. Incidentally, this reminds me of another story. She looked up at him with her amber-colored eyes and began the process of reeling out her story.